What's up, everybody? This is Matt DeMarinis from White and Blue Review again, bringing you another Creighton commentary, going back into the archives all the way back to 1999. NCAA Tournament game against Louisville. Today we have former Blue Jay players Alan Huss and Doug Swenson. Huss is obviously a current coach on the current staff, but we're going to go back into the memory banks and see what they can remember about this 20th century win over Louisville in the 99 NCAA Tournament that kind of kickstarted the modern era of Creighton hoops these days. How you doing, fellas?
Great, Matt. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
doing well. Looked like Doug overhelped a little bit there and 8-3 on the first possession. What I saw there.
Alex Sanders, big lefty. He could knock it down. He was a good player.
The beautiful thing is I'm not going to be in there, so I'll be able to criticize Doug plenty, and he's not going to be able to say much back.
And there's a lot to criticize.
I'm banking on him having practice stories as comebacks this whole time, basically.
Oh. Yeah, Al, there that trot is where I'm already winded. That excitement when you get to it's a real thing. It's a real thing in a game like this, and it hit me like a brick wall. There's no doubt about it.
3 minutes of adrenaline, basically.
I think so. I was never in great shape to begin with, but it hit me this game. It was bad. I was sucking air.
Doug told the story before we started, but I think pretty much everybody at some point was under the weather between the end of the Valley tournament and that. What was it about? It was just a little over a week, right, between the Valley tournament and the
like 9 days, because we won on a Monday night and then we didn't play till the following Thursday.
So that 9-10 day period there, about everybody was sick. I think Matt West was still sick maybe during this, but yeah, I think maybe Doug's going to blame that. I think his lack of conditioning on that.
No, I think if you look at the end of the bench, that's Matt West didn't play. He's sitting on the end of the bench in street clothes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Is that him in a really? I think that's him in a pretty sweet, like really baggy plaid shirt.
Khaki.
How bad did it affect you guys, Doug?
I don't know. I mean, judging at the score, 11-4 right now. We haven't even hit the first media timeout. I mean, it was the bright lights affected me. I know that. I mean, this is a goal, and you don't realize. You talk about the NCAA tournament, you watch it growing up, but you don't this is every play matters. Everything's in magnified, and it hit me. I know that. And I think. I mean, Coach Altman, to his credit, as we go in this game, you're going to see little tweaks and stuff, and there's going to be a couple coming up here pretty soon where he was able to plug guys in and give us a spark at the right time. And then you see Marius is already in there for me. Marius Karlakonovas, number 55, and there's Donnie Johnson. Those guys had energy that day. They really kept us in this thing when it could have sort of got out of hand in this first half.
Really?
It's pretty amazing that just watching, and we had the ability to play a lot of different ways with this group. We had some athleticism, especially with Rodney and Ben and Corey and Donnie, some of these guys. But I think it's when you have the layoff being a little bit sick, and then you go from a league like the Missouri Valley that just doesn't have athletes like we saw in Louisville. It's kind of amazing just that we were able to hang in there early, because I think we were just overwhelmed a little bit physically by the length and athleticism that you just don't see. You just didn't see it in the Missouri Valley Conference like this. Even Sears just looks a little bit sped up there, a little bit more than he would normally, it seems like. Of course, Rodney still looks unbelievably long on the front of his little blue press for you here, Doug.
I'm glad you remembered that.
So is it basically, are you guys just 1-2-2 press into a matchup zone here? Is that what's going on?
I don't think we're in the zone yet.
Okay.
Looks like Dana's a little bit upset right there. I'm not sure who he's got, but he was a little bit upset there. I mean, as a general rule, I think when we were a little less athletic than teams, we'd kind of go to the three-quarter court press. It's kind of designed more to slow people down. when we felt like we could speed them up, maybe we had a little bit of an athleticism, advantage, we'd go to more of the full court pressure with the 4-man on the ball. So I think you're going to see a lot of that 3-2 in this one.
That zone really paid dividends, like against teams like Evansville in the Missouri Valley Championship this year. Like Marcus Wilson was the player of the year. We were really able to. They torched us in the regular season when they played in Omaha against our man-to-man. They had such good shooters. And for whatever reason, we started communicating better later in the season in that zone. See, Nereus, he was a really, really good offensive player. He was a nice change of pace guy.
Could really score baskets. Threw that thing up there with side spin on it. That left-handed shot that meant he could really shoot. And he really was a good offensive player. The little fake handoff that we all used in the high post, the bench post, was named by Coach McKenna, was named the Nereus move because Nereus never actually handed it off. He faked it every single time. So I think they still probably to this day call it the Nereus.
He never did believe in using it, let him overplay it, then hit him with it. It was always
there was no setup. There you see Rodney's length. He certainly is. He is pretty incredible with his ability to cover ground with that wingspan. He had wingspan, and Doug really, for that matter, both those guys. And Doug, do you even know what your wingspan is? You ever have it measured?
7'3".
Yeah, it looks
Doug and Rodney are two guys. Like, it's funny. It's such a huge talking point in basketball now, but you don't hear anything about. You didn't hear anything about wingspan back in our day, at least not nearly as much. I'll give you another one. Here's something they've changed in the NCAA tournament over the years, thankfully. But I always thought it was tough for our teams. We were heavily reliant on outside shooting. You take that 9-10 day period off, whether you play Thursday or Friday from that Monday night championship game. And back in these days, even my senior year, 2 years after this, you play with those brand new leather balls. And at that point,
leather balls.
At that point in basketball, you never played with a leather ball the entire year. So you take 10 days off, and then you come in with a ball that, and it sounds goofy, but it's such a different feel.
There's the Rainmaker there.
There it is.
But we
didn't matter to Nereus. Nereus could shoot any kind of ball. Didn't matter.
We used Wilson Evolution and Wilson Solution basketballs when they first started coming out.
That's exactly right. And then we switched back to these in the tournament. It was such a different feel. We really struggled to shoot them.
But we would go on the road too, like Nebraska. I can remember the teams that had leather basketball.
Right. Never shot it well.
Illinois, Wichita State. It was terrible to play at those places, especially if you had hands that got sweaty.
So it's just, you even feel them. You don't feel them very often anymore, except for when, like, we have guys in the gym shooting with the NBA balls. But they even bounce off when you throw a bounce pass, you try to bank one in off the backboard. They feel a little different. They kind of skip off the board rather than stick.
See, Justin Haynes' energy level looks good right here. I remember, there was a charity basketball game at Bellevue West High School like a few years back, and it was like they invited a bunch of ex-Creighton players and ex-Nebraska players and had them play with each other. And Justin Haynes hated every single Nebraska player that was on the floor. He was like going at it like it was a rivalry game from the old days. He's a charity thing.
That's a whole other show.
I think it's a little different for those guys from the state of Nebraska. Their hatred for Big Red probably. It's a heck of a pass from our guy Sears there.
Everybody saw that, the pass to the finish. That's
our guy that we just signed, Contreras, is from the same club, Jalgiris, as Nereus.
Oh, really?
So I saw Nereus when I was over there in the winter.
Yeah, so you won't be scheduling Nevada?
No, we'll stay far away. Doug's bringing up the story when Nereus had a big game against, at that time, Southwest Missouri. I guess it was an anonymous tip, but we had a pretty good feeling it came from the fellas at SMS that Nereus had been a professional player, and there didn't end up being any merit to the claim. However, while he was investigated, we lost him. What did we lose him for? A couple of games, right?
2 games.
Yeah, lost him for a couple of games, and so we won't be scheduling Nevada anytime soon with the Lithuanian. We want to keep them on the floor. Looks like we're in the zone there, right, Doug?
Yeah.
We did go to it. I think Matt was right earlier. We went to it earlier than what I thought, which was fine because, like Alex Sanders, he was a big kind of, I don't know, but he didn't want to post up. I was always kind of, on that skinny side. It was a tough matchup for me, and it probably kept me out of foul trouble being in that zone. I know that's why we did more of it.
Mm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you actually got a couple of deep steals on him late in this game, though, that kind of opened it up for us, didn't you?
I don't know about opening it up. It was kind of during our we're talking ahead of ourselves a little bit, but yeah, we were able to, as athletic as they were and a little bit bigger, bulkier than we were able to get some things going inside.
We didn't have much of a choice. We didn't make anything from the perimeter, it looks like.
I remember when we were rewatching this thing a couple of weeks ago, and Doug and I were going back and forth because I think everybody was there was one guy from Louisville that was like really getting into Doug, and they were just basically going back and forth. I'm excited for those moments because it looked like Doug was totally fine with that. Like maybe that was the guy you didn't want to mess with.
We'll talk about it when we get to it, but it was, you just want to be a pain in their butt. It's, they didn't like it. They kind of thought, there's different stories over this couple days we were in Orlando that Louisville players had said this to some of our players, and coming off the court to shoot around, they had said,
what was it they said? I don't remember.
It got some guys going, and it got us fired up, and it didn't take much to get guys like Ben Walker fired up.
Was it the Valley Championship game where William Fauntleroy got into him?
That was when we were doing warm-ups, yeah, and Ben gets.
Was that the championship game or the semifinal?
Semifinal.
Yeah, semis.
There's Ben Walker. He started making plays in this game and in the Missouri Valley. Just tough. That's the kind of players Al looks for. That's what I look for in a player. Go get a tough basket just like that.
I think Ben had a kind of as a freshman, I think we all expected him maybe to do a little bit more than he did initially. And kind of at the end of the year, he really started to come into his own in that tournament and kind of get to do some of the things in games that we had seen him do so frequently in practice. We're definitely in the zone. A lot of pointing and talking.
Yeah.
It's funny, you get into coaching and anybody that finds out you played for Coach Altman, they always want to know about this matchup zone and the rules of it and how to teach it. And I don't know, maybe Doug picked up a few more than I did, but it's really incredible. It's communication based, and I don't know, it's difficult to teach, but it's even more difficult to play against.
To actually get a team to talk and communicate, you think it's easy. We're finally all on the same page. Earlier in this 99 season, we were not on the same page, and you can just watch here. On defense, we're pointing, our mouths are moving.
I love it. There we got our guy Corey Brandon in the game. That's the one thing about Nereus. He's been playing against professionals for a long time, so bigger bodies, more length didn't really speed him up. He kind of went his speed no matter what. Had a heck of a game in this one.
Where did we go? Play 9 players this game?
Looks like 8. I was trying to remember. In my mind, I thought Matt would play quite a bit. Matt must have been sick.
He is on the end.
Remember, Doug? I fell out of the rotation after I got so sick that year, and I was in the hospital and lost all that weight.
Yeah.
And then Matt, I think, got sick in the tournament. So I guess we would have been probably 9 and 10. Is that right that year? Maybe a little bit of Cliff as well. Would have been 11.
Oh, yeah. Everybody got minutes at certain parts of the year. I know.
We got Doug back in there now.
Cliff and John Klein would get minutes against Southwest Missouri in the tournament, in the NBC tournament even.
Yeah, we brought that one up. The Johnny Klein getting into it with Danny Moore. It's one of Coach Grinsing's famous lines. Coach Greg Grinsing broke out there's a scuffle between Danny Moore. Probably was he a first team all league guy? Doug probably wasn't he?
Yeah,
Three
he was
times.
a stud.
3 times.
Yeah, good scorer, and he was he got into a little scuffle with Johnny, and Johnny comes off, and for those that are listening that don't know Johnny Klein, Johnny's really exceptionally smart. Never made a B in his life, I don't think, but he was just a gritty, grimy player, and he got into it, Danny Moore, and Grinsing comes off and is like, "Hey, nice job." And I'm paraphrasing, of course, at this point, but he says something to the effect of, I mean, John, if you want to take it a little further, I mean, if you get thrown out and he gets thrown out, that's a plus for us. One of the great lines, one of the many great lines out of Greg Grinsing.
That's hysterical.
It's amazing how much ground on the front of the press that 1-2-2, Rodney. You just can't throw a normal pass, east to west against him.
Doug's out here waiting for a 3, looks like.
Yeah.
We're running our little I don't know what we were supposed to be there.
That's about what I was good for in this game. Getting some offensive rebounds, hanging around in the lane. There were no jumpers taken. I can remember that by me.
Looks like Rod took
active and use those long arms just like that.
Yeah.
Looks like Rodney took a few for us.
A few, yeah. And he should have.
Yes, he should have. It's really, I mean, it's really incredible that what a talented player he was. I mean, it's funny, we have some guys, and maybe it's just different when you're playing with them. We have some guys now that have been fortunate enough to make it to the NBA or looking to play in the NBA, but gosh, his talent level just seems like just on another planet from anybody else I've ever been around.
His balance on those pull-up jumpers that we don't necessarily want to coach now, just his pull-up game. We'll see a few of them in the second half where he just pulls up and just drops it. Just
that kind of half pull-up, half jump hook shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he'd get to about 15 feet, that spot where he was comfortable, and get that thing in one hand, and it was really difficult. Correct me if I'm wrong. Denny Crum, was this his last year? He'd go one more after this.
He had one more NCAA tournament after this. They played Gonzaga the next year because I always told people that, yeah, we beat Denny Crum in his last game, but it's not true. He had one more year in him, I think.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were still running the old John Wooden UCLA duck-in offense. I kind of got the idea that maybe they didn't respect us a whole lot in this one. From coaching staff on down.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about teams being connected on defense. We got to that spot with this team. Don't you think, Al? Look, we're just connected.
Yeah, I mean, I think you alluded to it earlier. The interesting thing about this team, we were picked to win the league, coming off a really good year. The year before, we finished second in the league, and I don't want to say we underachieved, but the word you used, we weren't connected all year. Necessarily like we had been the previous year. We kind of, to use Coach Altman's line, we kind of showed up and thought it was going to be easy for us.
Okay.
But we certainly did at the end of the year. We came together, and at the end of the year, we were really popping on both ends of the floor.
White and Blue reviewed this year, and they talked about like us beating Southern Illinois in early December, and then our next conference game is Drake a couple weeks later. We go to and lose.
Yeah.
The crowd rush there, what a horrible feeling. They hadn't won a game in 2 seasons. Like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Then we play Oklahoma State right after that, and we're able to knock them off, kind of right the ship. But we only went 11-7 in the Missouri Valley that year.
We were definitely more talented than 11-7 in the league.
Speaking of Oklahoma State, Al's only career three-pointer, pretty big one. What was going through Doug's head when he let that thing go?
Man, I know I stood up on the bench and like raising both fists, probably waving the towel. Because that was
popular or contrary to what most people think, I actually could shoot a basketball a little bit once upon a time.
Yeah, you said you used to be like a when I think I asked you what kind of player you were. You're like, yeah, I used to be like a
Shot it a lot,
sports
and then kind of, you get to this kind of pinch post offense. There's certainly a lot more opportunities around that foul line area for jump shots. Cole Sears was, gosh, he was so scrappy defensively.
When he fell down, he was getting up, and it was going to be in a hurry.
Yeah, you remember that charity game I referenced earlier?
Yep.
He was in that thing too, and like I said, it was a charity game, a little exhibition, open gym style. And he was still down in a stance, like on the floor, swiping at things. I was like, he's still got the bulldog inside of him.
I don't think our guy Ryan has any other gear other than full tilt.
Seriously, I was like, oh my god, it was insane. He was in a full-on, like, sitting in the chair and on defense, like in your grill, trying to steal the ball from you. Like, this dude's getting after it.
Another Greg Rensing special was our best defense when the whole time Sears was there just to turn it over, let him have a 2-on-1 and let Sears be the one back. He'd have a way of digging it out of there somehow and making a play. Little dribble weave for us there. Golly, Rod.
There's that slippery Rollins ball. I know it.
Yeah, we were. We really.
That was there for the lob.
I think we got a young shot of D-Rock in there too.
Yep, Darren's first year.
Was it really?
Grad assistant. I remember the spring before when he showed up in May. Him and Ashley showed up on campus. Like, what is this guy doing? We had a little fracas our trip to Northern Iowa that year, and I couldn't believe he was on our campus.
Well, you remember then? Now you forget the second game. The second game that year is when he gave us all the buckets in the first half and shushed our crowd.
The old Templeman senior night, 1998.
Yes,
that's amazing.
That was probably the first good crowd we had at the Civic while we were here. I don't know what we had that night. We had a good crowd in there.
I think he had 4 threes. It was 12-0 or 12-2 probably. Without going back and looking, it was just he started off on fire.
I don't remember exactly what was said in the locker room, but I don't remember Coach Altman being particularly pleased with him shushing our crowd. And then somehow later he was coaching us.
All right, here it is. Here's pinwheel offense. Let's see where it takes us.
We got the little
second cut. Oh,
there! Look at that. Yep.
Ah.
Now you want it bad too. You're like, give it back to me. I got this.
So now when things break down and you get a short shot clock, that's the guy you want with the ball in his hands.
There's no question. That's the shot we were talking about earlier. He didn't miss those very often.
All right.
He missed about 15 of them in this first half, if I remember right.
I'm looking at the box score. I'm kind of surprised that it says Corey only played 16 minutes that game. Was that normal that year, Doug? I could have sworn Corey was more like a 22, 23, 24-minute a game guy.
Well, he was an all-NBC bench guy that year. But I'm sure he averaged about 20. I think our regular – I bet it was close to 20.
I guess that's kind of what we did. Most guys played about 20. Kind of the opposite of our team this year that played – everybody – our starters played 35.
Creighton has had some opportunities. They just haven't been able to get the ball to go in the basket. Tony Williams, 9 points.
Still kind of running and jumping us.
Yeah.
Cardinals up 28-21.
I'd forgotten they played with this much pressure in the passing lanes.
Behind the back, big fella to the basket.
I'm surprised we haven't got to our little over-back series yet.
What do you guys remember about the huddles and everything in terms of what was going on to try to get you guys going offensively?
Well, I think at this – I don't remember offensively, and I don't remember this early in the game what all was being said, but I think it was – you can see whenever they cut to Coach Altman, it's brewing inside of him. And it doesn't really come out till the second half. He's still keeping his composure pretty well. I think the second half he really starts to bite us.
Really?
And pay attention now. Young kids nowadays, they don't understand. Defensively, we had to box out from below that bottom block on free throws.
No, it was difficult right there.
They have it so easy nowadays. Look at that. I got to get that guy out of there. That was hard. Just another thing, just like going with the short shorts now. We fought hard to get longer shorts back in the 90s. Now we're going the other way.
Longer.
It's the exact opposite right now, I can promise you.
Yeah, that's funny.
NBA rims and NBA backboards.
I'm telling you though, that's that slick ball again right there. That funky angle. Like Ben doesn't miss those shots.
Slick ball.
Yeah.
But you asked that question, what we said in huddles the entire time, and Doug, you correct me if I'm wrong on this. Very, very rarely did you ever hear Coach Altman talk about offense.
Oh,
you
really?
could pretty much guess it was where were we on the boards, what was going on with 50-50 plays and hitting the floor, and how many charges have we taken, and holding them below 40%. That'd be hold them below 40%, out rebounded by 10. We'll live with what happens. I can almost guarantee he's not talking about offense. Telling us just to relax.
Was the philosophy there that would take care of itself, kind of, you guys?
Absolutely.
Hey, there we go. That's it. You guys behind me or what? That Rodney diving full out?
Oh, yeah.
Rodman, Godzilla. That was a dive.
That was the one?
That was it right there.
I was trying to remember what that little was that dribble option right there, Doug? Little dribble option you ducked in? I think that's what that was.
A little cross screen, and then I just went below the block there.
I think that's when we dribble entry. That's what we do. The guy would cross screen, right? And the guy, there was like a little stagger, and then you finish it with, I don't even know if there's a cross screen. You just kind of set the initial down screen and then flash.
Looks like they're getting a little worn out if I'm just judging by the speed of the feet over here. Looks like they're a little bit slower than they were before.
I mean, you can tell the zones really screwed them up too. Like even though they got a pretty easy shot there, they were in their zone offense. We kind of just stood next to them in that matchup. Always felt like when teams went to that kind of just traditional 1-3-1, zone offensive look against it, kind of played right into our hands. Face guarding Ryan right here.
I think Corey sticks a 3 before the half, if I'm not mistaken.
They're switching everything, switching pen downs and everything right now.
Yeah. Oh, he gets it blocked. Never mind.
Yeah, it was a good decision on the switches there. Huh.
They had some length. It certainly sped us up.
Mm-hmm.
There's Coach Crum with the rolled up program. Wonder where he learned that from. They flashed to the Gonzaga score. That's the start of Gonzaga's. Minnesota had all those guys suspended, not to talk about another game, but that was the start of Gonzaga.
Yeah, no. It's crazy. I always wanted Creighton and Gonzaga to play because I felt like both of them kind of got jump-started in terms of winning in NCAA Tournament games and going there in the same year, even though Gonzaga obviously had deeper runs. But it was crazy that you guys had never played each other until a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We played 2 really good halves against them. We just happened to both be first halves.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys remember about the halftime situation?
I think it was the same thing. I don't remember him being particularly animated even, just because I think we just needed to settle down offensively. We were scrapping pretty good, really. I don't know. You remember anything different there, Doug?
Not off the top of my head, but I know that whatever was said, it didn't catch because I don't know. I know it doesn't start out good here. I'm not going to give it away, but it's.
Yeah.
I mean,
So, Doug, did you cheat and watch this thing already?
I watched this before. Al, this is one of my most favorite games I've ever played in. This is my in my memory bank till I'm old and gray, man.
Now that I know we got these out here, maybe I'm going to start digging into watching some old ball games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should.
I got some. I got a 19. It must have been from this same year. There was a commercial, like a halftime commercial, that got sent to me by, I think, Dan Calder the other day. It was pretty funny though. It had some pretty sweet practice clips.
That was the halftime show thing, right? I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. There's a lot of good stuff, Al. But you got to remember, a lot of this stuff isn't documented like it is now. We were before everything got put and saved on the internet. So
Seriously.
after this, it starts. You can go back and find this stuff pretty readily.
Yeah, everything's archived now.
Well, even this game, as we get going here, like they put a little run on us here. My parents watching in North Dakota here, they cut away from the game.
Well, that's right, because back then everything was on CBS, right?
Mm-hmm, it was just CBS. I think
they kind of decided.
Package on DirecTV. Oh, that slippery ball. Slippery ball. Gosh.
Yeah, I think it didn't cut away from us in Omaha because they had the regional rule where it was the game in your area and it would stay on. So I remember watching.
Gosh, you think up in North Dakota, probably be about 50-50. Probably a lot of upset people if the Minnesota game's going on at the same time.
Yeah. This was the last year we wore Reebok, in case anybody's wondering.
Really?
I never got in on the Nike stuff.
These were some of my favorite uniforms, though, especially the road uniforms.
And guess what? We would get more than one season out of a uniform back then.
I can remember it was just everything was just screen printed back then. I remember the basketballs were starting to peel off at the end of that second year.
Unless you got a different number every year, like I did, to throw the refs off. I went from 24 when I was a junior to 11, and then Ben Walker went from 11 to number 4 this year. So have to throw the refs off.
You guys have any wild stories of practicing in that old gym? I'm sure Al probably has flashbacks every day he goes into work, but what do you guys remember about that hardwood floor and the staircase and everything?
That
spiral staircase is the worst.
Especially the first week in October, or first practice day in October, we'd have to walk up to that thing knowing it was going to be fall break. All the students are gone, and we can practice for as many hours as we want.
We don't do that anymore.
I know you don't do that.
They
put a lot of things you don't do anymore.
I remember you on Sunday, after basically the end of the week, we'd only practice once on that Sunday. And it'd be like a 3.5 hour practice or whatever, 4 hours by the time you were probably off the floor, and it felt like a day off.
That was a tough play by Ben Walker. Made something out of nothing.
Yeah, he was capable of doing that.
Alex Sanders was a wide body. I had to try and fight around him.
He's only about 6'7", though, right, Doug?
Yeah, but he was just wide.
Big, strong. Yeah, he was a good player. Trying to think, Maben probably got drafted. Didn't the rest of these guys on the Louisville team play in the NBA?
I don't think any of these guys got drafted.
What about Cameron Murray? Cameron Murray have a cup of coffee?
Oh, number 21. Who was 21, guys? I don't have the box score.
Oh, they called that a charge? That's horrible.
Nate Johnson.
He played. He was on the Lakers preseason squad one year. He was, 21 year catching up to Rod. Yes, they called that a charge.
That's such a big. Oh, they don't have the circle back then, though.
Nope, you can stand right into the rim back then.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing that's crazy about this game to me, too, is there's no ball screens happening. Nowadays, thousands of ball screens per game.
I remember thinking I saw a junior college team in must have been about 2005 run a ball screen continuity, and it was the craziest thing I'd ever heard of in my life. I said, "You're going to ball screen 2-3 times at every possession? No way, never would. That's all you're going to do?"
They attack that zone the way you're supposed to right there.
Absolutely.
The short corner, and then they got the shot in the middle of the lane. So now it's an 11-point lead. You know, it was something's coming here.
Yeah, you guys are going about a point per minute right now.
Yeah.
Not a good ratio.
Their pressure on the perimeter really. Oh, here we go.
Oh, nice finish. Oh, there's a little shove. Yep, there we go.
Of course, on the left side, I never did use my left hand. I mean, I coach it all the time. Heck, I never used. It was all right-handed.
Didn't really matter when I was trying to guard you, Doug. You were a foot above me, so you were pretty much clear to use whichever hand you'd like.
Coach Gordy had us working out, though, didn't he?
I see him there. It looks like he doesn't look a whole lot different. Darren seems to have aged quite a bit, and Gordy looks exactly the same somehow.
I'm only 50 pounds heavier now.
Is that it?
That's it.
It's short. Rebounded by Murray. Nate Johnson.
All right, there it is. There's the 13-point lead. There it is.
That's the biggest it gets, huh?
Yeah, so whenever I see a game, an NCAA tournament game, or any game for that matter, like, okay, 13 points, it can be done.
There's a sloppy turnover.
Well, that
13
lip is starting to curl.
Yeah, he's starting to get mad.
Yep.
Looks like
that might be the timeout he bit us in pretty good.
He looked like I don't know what Coach McKinnon was pissed about right there, but he looked like he was standing up to come at somebody too. Valpo had played right before us, right?
Valpo in Indiana. We got to see the general walk off.
That's right. I forgot.
Robert Montgomery Knight. I think Dan Kohler got his autograph later on.
Nice.
Did he really?
Okay, there we cranked it up the defense a little bit. A little half-court.
A little chase out of the timeout.
We trapped the first pass.
Chase was the call, right?
Al, you're the coach. You got me. But we a little pep in our step here. Rodney's up there guarding.
Yeah, you guys are definitely
Rodney
heating
and
up.
Ryan are back there lurking. Of course, I'm telling Marius what to do. We both spoke French. That was the thing. We were trilingual. We had to find a common language.
Love to hear those French conversations.
He was the grand fromage.
Still trying to run our little Carolina break there. I'd forgotten how much their pressure bothered us. We ran so many A to B to C actions, and they really bothered us with just their length and their their ability to take things away on the perimeter. Golly, I'd forgotten.
How good was Ben at these post-up situations? Because it looks like you guys are trying to get him the ball down on the block a little bit more.
I mean, that's probably what he did best at this point in his career.
Really? Was that an elevator screen there, and I got called for a moving screen? Yeah.
Doug was never a big fan of the officials. I'm sure he was really happy with that call. Here we go. Now we're in our full court press.
There.
Is this blue or is this?
That's green rotate. We were in there.
Oh, okay.
Marius was the point man.
And this is the one.
Pretty rare. Usually we didn't go back green back zone. Looks like we were green back zone right there.
And this is the one that's designed to create turnovers, right?
Yeah. We're still in the same matchup zone, but yeah, that's the press was.
Okay.
I may be wrong there, Doug. We didn't play a lot of greenback zone, though. That was pretty kind of a rare combination.
That zone treated us so well just late in the year.
Even more rare is what you just saw right there. That was Ben Walker driving right. Didn't see that very often. My man B-Dub likes to go left. I guarantee if he plays pickup basketball right now, he's driving left.
It looks like you guys are doing that classic thing where you keep your point guard on the floor, but you put him off the ball to get him a little bit of a breather. So I think Sears is playing off the ball a little bit here. Now he comes out.
We got both our small guards in at once. This is interesting. would probably be like some Matt West stuff if he's on the floor, if he's available.
Buford flashes across the lane, won't go.
Rod really did struggle in this one.
Yeah, offensively for sure.
All right, now Donnie Johnson's going to be up on Sanders taking it out here. Okay.
Yeah, so here's your they threw it over the top.
And Sanders looks for a guard, and he has
That must be a little bit ahead of you, Al.
Cameron's brother Tracy played at UCLA, now is
Do we get out of sync?
cousin. Vermont also
Not by much.
plays pro basketball as well in the NBA. So a basketball family. Back pass, Sanders.
Sanders was versatile. I for some reason I remember them in those kind of old, the UCLA Duckins. I definitely remember in that practice week going through those actions over and over and over, being worried about that UCLA Duckin.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't run it much though.
I think he hit that 1-3 early. He did not do much else, thankfully.
I mean, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember that? Like the week when we realized who we were playing, I remember them telling us how that guy was going to bury you. How Sanders was going to bury you. I think you definitely got threatened. And I remember being him on scout team a little bit. I remember trying to duck you in and you not being real happy about it.
Oh,
I gave quite the same
the
look.
backside. We all want to get those shots.
Yeah.
It's amazing how effective that simple out of bounds play was. Just over and over, we got that my entire 4 years.
It looks like you guys have maybe tried to push on misses a little bit more here because of what their set quarter-court defense is doing to you.
I think we couldn't score on them in the half court, so I think it's try to run if we can.
There, just backside layup.
Rodney moved 2 guys out of there.
Rodney's got a little pep in his step now.
Mm-hmm.
We have 12 minutes and 43 seconds to go in the second half. 9-point lead for the
What was that play call for that double? Do you remember?
I think that was dribble option again right there.
There, that right there. Oh, that balance.
Oh, that's nice.
Pretty incredible.
Rock it back and forth and just knock it down. Got it down to 7 now. We look a little better.
Rodney never seemed like a guy who could get off balance very much. He was so good in the air.
Mm-hmm.
On his elevation, on his jumpers and everything. Like, he never really seemed like he was off balance.
No, Rodney athletically is. I mean, Rodney's good at anything he tries to do athletically. He was probably as bouncy as anybody I've ever seen live. But then also just his ability, his feet were so light laterally when he wanted to move. He could cover ground running. He could put the guy in center field. I remember watching him play softball. Put him in center field. He didn't need 2 other outfielders. He could catch anything. He'd play the whole outfield by himself.
That's crazy.
He's a pretty incredible athlete, guy. I mean, and then you throw in just ridiculous instincts on top of it. He's a guy that's pretty special to see him every day. I can remember a few times, I'm sure Doug does too, that we just do a simple one-on-one drill on the wing. And when he felt like playing offense, he could just play offense until he got tired of doing it. The defense was supposed to be on until you got to stop. He would just play forever.
I don't know why it's taking me so long to notice it, but my God, there are a lot of people on the free throw blockouts. There's like a war down there.
Everybody could be in there. 9 people could be the shooter and 4 other people on each side. 9 people, 1 person back.
That is wild looking. The ball goes up and there's just like a free-for-all for it. That's crazy.
Just in general, it's amazing how much different the level of physicality was. So you just watch this. Everything was closer. Like, guys would go to cut and you just get chucked. It's just a different game.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing that you guys have so much energy.
No freedom of movement.
Yeah, the defense you guys are playing full court, and then all this physicality. It's amazing you guys have enough energy to do this. Practices must have been hell.
Oh, we had our days at them. It was Al and I guess they still talk about slap fights we were into. It was, I don't know how fit we were. We just kind of slapped at each other.
I can tell you I didn't start them.
But and you didn't end them either.
We kind of gave them to taste their own medicine right there, a little bit up in the passing lanes and denied them. I always think when I see Coach on TV now, Coach Altman on TV, I always think he hasn't aged at all. I watched this; he looks pretty darn young right here.
He's our age in this, I think. The age we are now is the age Coach Altman there.
Yeah, I remember when he turned 40. So yeah, makes sense. Doug, am I wrong? Is Louisville wearing Converse right there?
They are wearing Converse. Got Converse All-Stars.
Wow.
That was kind of in the, about 95 or so, they had the Converse Rebirth. That was part of that, right?
Yeah.
Rodney's defense in this game is unreal.
Big one right there.
Big three.
You can feel it now right here, Matt. This is kind of where it's like you start looking around. Momentum, you can feel it.
Yeah, I think it's an 8-3 run right now.
All right, that's okay.
One out.
You guys are just flying around right now. Well, nice crossover.
That's more the way I remember Sears right there.
When I think of point guards, Ryan Sears is the guy that comes to my mind. When that's my definition. It always will be.
Really?
Yep.
Matt's heard me talk about it before, and I'm sure you probably have too, Doug. But we have Marcus now, and it's amazing how those two guys are wired so similarly. Just an inability to do anything, at any level that is absolute hardest. It's kind of eerie the way they're wired the same way.
Oh, I was never at the top of that thing. Never until this game.
Really?
And earlier in the year, we played Iowa, and like Jess Settles and J.R. Koch in their press, they would be right up on the ball. I mean, growing up, here's a big shot here. I mean, we're feeling it. But we're always told growing up you should kind of back up and let the guy throw it in. You got to give him space. Jess Settles never gave us any space. Like
he literally jumped on the line.
Around 7 years, I'm going to do what he does on this press.
Did you say something about it being around 7 years?
I was a sophomore in high school. He was a freshman of the year in the Big Ten.
I watched him play live when I was in middle school. I was at a game live when Iowa played middle school, and I guarded him in college.
Yeah, and I remember walking out of Carver Hawkeye after that game, and I remember saying something to him. I was like watching an old Warrior walk out, and they were both seniors.
Ooh, there's the elbow.
Another one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
He doesn't like how you're playing.
We got that timeout called. And Matt, this will make you feel real old. We had to get a timeout. We had to actually call the timeout signal.
With the ball in your hands, everything.
I'm joking. I took a little swipe there. Until I watched this, I had no idea.
He went for
I didn't realize he went that high with you.
I know.
I had no idea that he did that during the game.
That'd probably be a monitor deal. We'd be at the monitor for 12 minutes.
There's no doubt about that happened. Yeah, he's getting tossed to me.
So momentum is shifting. We're getting up under them. They're getting.
I think there's another exchange. Here pretty quick too. So I think you score on him and shove him.
Ooh, Rado just about had that thing timed up. That's pretty good defense out of our Lithuanian right there. That's about wasn't his strong suit, but he was pretty darn good right there. Isolation situation.
Yeah, there's a nice seal.
Oof.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Oh boy, Doug's teed up right here.
I tell you guys, because the momentum in that stadium, I mean, the energy at that moment, I will never, ever feel that again. This is March to me. This right here. This is it. This is my best memory right here, guys. Basketball memory right there.
That was the one we saw in Sports Center for the next couple of days, right?
Really?
That's why I remember it so well.
Yeah, you were jacked up right there. That was a good seal, though. Good seal, and you got pretty low.
One rebound, Doug. One rebound?
I have one rebound this game.
That's
Well, if you box it out and the other guys are getting the rebound, what's the difference?
I'll box out. The guards do the work.
Yeah. All right, there we go.
Yeah, there's some more extra stuff.
Oh, you're back on the front of it there.
Crank it up. Those long arms, that 7'3" wingspan.
Yeah, you might have just changed this whole game right here.
Yeah, the old wingspan, Doug Swenson. I've told people this many times. He used to go hang on the rim, and if the rim would break away when he's hanging on the front of the rim, he could touch his toes there just barely on the ground.
Wow.
And I don't know if I've coached a bunch of 7-footers. I've never coached one as long as Doug.
And I've
Never seen anybody else who could do it.
without shoes on, I'm 6'9".
Is that true?
That is true, yeah.
What were you listed at in college? 6'10"?
10.
There you go. You can pull your
Right
best
up
Jess
on the
Settles
line,
right there on the line.
Yeah, you're definitely over that line.
Not over it.
You're over that thing. You're all up in his face.
Thank you to the Tom Davis zone or the press that we saw earlier in the year. You remember that stuff.
We went to that game to find our shot lob we ran this year a few times there, Doug. The old Tom Davis archives.
Oh yeah, the
fake
shot
shot
lob. Ken McCausland throwing it. I remember. Well,
Ooh, that was a deep one.
That was a big shot.
So,
I guess that's from the normal line these days.
Their length certainly bothered us. Gosh, we couldn't get any kind of continuity. The ball just didn't pop like it normally did.
not only this game, but the following game. I remember playing against Maryland. They'd come out and pressure me on the reversal, like Terrence Morris and guys like that.
Absolutely.
I was not equipped well to handle the ball against these teams.
That was probably the most talented team in college basketball that year. That Maryland team, Maryland team we played next.
And then Steve Francis and Juan Dixon, Lonnie Baxter.
Hey guys.
The old Ben Walker pass it to himself there.
Yeah.
We're making plays now.
Yeah, you're all over the
Feldman's
place.
getting in the stance.
Feels like 8 on 5 right now. You guys are all over the court.
Now we're back into the blue zone. Coach mixed it up here on him quite a bit down the stretch. Looks like we're a little tired now too, though. Got a media coming up, right? Media coming up on the next dead ball. There was a ball screen for you right there, Matt.
I know, that's crazy.
About 10 minutes later, we'll see another one.
Ooh.
All right, Ryan's letting us catch our breath. He knows.
Yeah.
He knows.
Ryan's like, all right, guys, let's chill for a sec. We're back in it. Nice pass by Rodney off his foot.
The old kick pass there.
Ooh, Doug got pushed there.
That probably wasn't our best possession of the year there.
That would have been another rebound, Doug. You got shoved, though.
Yeah, I got shoved a few times in this game. But it's big boy basketball, NCAA Tournament.
Try to remember. So these guys, this would have been, Louisville would have been Conference USA at the time, right?
You were.
Conference USA when Conference USA was one of the premier leagues in the country.
Cincinnati, Marquette, DePaul, those guys were all in Conference USA at the time.
Yeah, it's a good league.
That's a big foul on Ben. Oh, it seemed like. What was his presence like in terms of leadership and setting an example for people? We always hear about like Sears and Walker being examples for guys. What
Ben
types?
Walker was no joke. You talk about him getting up in a guy's face and like getting Rodney on the same page. Rodney and Ben both coming from Milwaukee. They've known each other. I mean, that relationship went back a long time. There was one guy on the team that could light a fire under Rodney. It was going to be Ben. Don't you think, Al?
He had to a number of times.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember. I can remember a couple of times where, Ben was mostly a by example guy. Wasn't really a super vocal guy all the time. Didn't have to be. Kind of just did his thing. But to Doug's point, I remember a handful of times where he had enough of whatever and kind of. I don't know if it necessarily got physical, but it got close.
Mm.
We got Darius crushing the glass now. It's going to be our day.
Football background that Ben, I mean, we talk about it, but I mean that
we used to have an old VHS. I lived with Ben, and we lived in Swenson Hall at the time, and so Doug spent a lot of time in our room, 715 Swenson Hall, and then I think 523. I think the second year. And Doug and Cliff, especially, those two guys were always in our room because we were right in the center of campus. They lived over in Kennefic Hall. And I'm sure Doug remembers it. We used to pop that old VHS, Ben Walker's VHS football highlight tape. And it was just him just steamrolling guys.
They used to talk about Vinnie Johnson that played for the Pistons back in the 80s and 90s about how God made him like 6'7", but then squashed him. It's like Ben Walker's body.
It was the same way.
That's like Ben Walker's body. He should be 6'7", but he's like 6'2", just got squashed. Bro,
what a take by Ryan. Wow.
That was soft point guard as the ATO right there. That was the name of that place, soft point guard. We had some really creative calls.
If it wasn't out of the pin, that wasn't off the pinwheel, was it?
Yeah, that was soft point guard. That's the little where we faked like we were going to the two-man game. Then we brought the guy back off the point guard.
He won the game at Southwest Missouri this year on that play, I think.
Yeah.
It was
soft point guard, but then Corbin showed up the next year. We started running it for him, so it just became soft instead of soft point guard.
All right, now we're rebounding with purpose.
I was going to say, you guys are killing them on the boards now. They're one and done constantly.
It's amazing, as athletic as they are, when Rodney really felt like going, he was just another class than anybody else athletically.
Mm. I think he had a double-double in the MVT final against Evansville, didn't he?
Yeah, when he felt like asserting himself under the glass, he could.
He led us in rebounding both years. He was 7 or 8 rebounds a game, if I remember right. We did our fair share of gang rebounding, but he was the athlete to go get it.
Gotcha.
Ben was pretty darn good at it, too.
And Ben could go get it.
I remember Ben being crazy good as a rebounding guard.
Rodney was one of those guys who was just in the freak athlete category with, like I mentioned earlier, unbelievable instincts also. Ben's one of those guys that had like a 25-inch vertical, but if there was a ball up there, somehow he could just jump higher than the other guys to go get it. He just had an unbelievable nose for it.
And speaking of wingspans, I mean,
he also had a ridiculous one.
He had probably a 6'7", 6'6" wingspan.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's long. He had long arms. Got Gus there.
And strong hands. You forget about how important having, once you get your hands on the ball, to be able to just hang on to it and just grab it.
Well, if he got a fingertip on it, it was his.
Really?
I mean, that was Rodney to a certain extent, too.
Saw points in the paint with 32-14 you guys. That's crazy. You don't see like a mid-major go and beat up a team like this in the paint like you guys are doing.
Sanders, for as much as he spends in that paint, he doesn't touch the ball down there.
Really?
No.
Nice closeout, Doug.
I could move my feet when I wanted to. Coach Allman read us the riot act in that timeout. We all had our feet moving.
Nice. He created that turnover with that closeout. Made him put the ball on the deck.
Doug, you remember the name of this one? 9A.
Say it again?
9A. Dribble weave, 9A.
Dribble weave, that's what that was.
9A, yeah.
Yeah, I was really jacked up.
3 out, and the big guys would be flat on the baseline.
That's right.
They would just weave.
Yep, 9A. That was what that was called.
Fans got sick of towards the end of as the years went by. This was the prevent offense.
Yep.
Is that right?
And then 23 didn't know the scouting report there. Didn't know Ben was getting to that left hand. There we go. There's a little Huss cameo.
Well, coach is feeling a little bit better, but he'd never let you know.
The Creighton Blue Jays are on a 22-7 run in the last.
No, it's amazing. When you think about this team, the first thing that pops into my head was perimeter shooting, and we've only taken probably a dozen threes.
Yeah, you guys look at you're playing bully ball today.
Ooh, kick save. Oh, my mom saw that one.
Yeah, that was national TV. She let you have it after the game?
I think they probably saw worse in some of the few televised games we had. The camera usually found me for me mouthing something, so.
Who is this on the line for him?
That's Cameron Murray.
Oh, yeah.
Tracy Murray's younger brother.
Yeah, that's right.
And Tracy dropped 50 in an NBA game back in the day.
I was thinking for some reason Cameron Murray had a cup of coffee too.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Oh, that's a foul. No.
Not in the 90s.
With 2:37 to go in the second half of play.
So they were what? They were Cali kids, weren't they?
Yep. Cameron actually went to USC first. They transferred to Louisville.
Really?
49-47. We really, offensively here, beautiful basketball.
Grind it out, Al. Grind it. You know the term.
There was no let it fly on the wall back in those days.
Now after the game's over and we have a few minutes, we played a Conference USA team the year before in the NIT in Marquette, and we were without getting a field goal at the end of the game. We couldn't tough it out. That's one thing you look back on, that experience.
Absolutely.
Even in the NIT leads up to a game like this where you got to gut it out.
They're just full out face guard Rodney now.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're
really Ryan for that matter.
They're making Ben make plays here.
There. Yes.
Woo! That was a big shot. What was a bigger shot, that one or the one he hit against Southwest Missouri State in the semifinals, that three that he hit from 30?
This one.
Yeah, I'm saying this one kind of probably puts Creighton basketball on the map right there.
Mm.
This one right here. Anything done in the NCAA tournament, I mean, whatever anybody says, I don't know. It's hard for us to say. Al, would we be in the NCAA tournament if we lose to Southwest Missouri? Probably, right?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think we were that year. No, we were 11-7 in the league. I mean, I guess what? 3 teams made it?
Three teams made it. One team made it to Sweet 16.
Probably really close. Yeah, probably the third best team that year made it to the Sweet 16. Southwest, we really had our way with there.
Don't get me started on that Sweet 16 run.
They had a great draw.
Compared to the guys we had to play in Louisville and Maryland, who they had to play, shoot.
Who they played? They played Tennessee
They played Wisconsin and Tennessee.
Wisconsin and Tennessee.
A woefully Wisconsin, they scored 32 points in the game, I think. But back to this game. All right, we had a minute and a half. I think if I spin and a half drags out for a while now.
A few fouls here.
Yeah, what do they call here? Oh, you took the jersey. Got it.
They were
Kind
a clutch and grab team.
Really?
And down the stretch of this year, not only this game, but in the NBC tournament, we made free throws. As a team, we made free throws.
Yeah.
24 of 25 in the semifinals against Missouri. We made free throws down the stretch. We were all too scared of Coach Altman to miss.
The coaches agreed with them. Inside, easy basket for
I don't know if that was exactly the defensive possession we were looking for there.
1:20 to go in the second half. 54-51 and a foul.
It was a pretty easy bucket. I think we had it ingrained in our heads not to probably foul on that either, not to give up an and one.
Oh, I'm sure.
Into the front court to shoot free throws. It'll be Walker.
There we got Dr. West in the shot again right there with the baggy flannel. The baggy plaid.
And to get to some of the other guys on the bench, we got Steve Brace there too. You see him once in a while.
Where is Brace? Is Brace sitting on the end?
Way on the end. Down by Father Hart.
And this Creighton team trailed by as many as 13 points.
We shot free throws well at the end of this year.
Yeah, those were all net.
Everybody involved, including Buford, who had a terrible first half.
Trevor Content. No. I'm letting them get played pretty easily. No fouls though.
Louisville been able to get easy baskets by just driving through the zone. 3-point game.
Ben definitely had a toughness with the basketball. Felt
Yeah,
pretty secure.
so you guys are trying to find him a lot.
Especially in that left hand.
He's making some good plays on the stretch here, though. He gave you guys the lead at first before Rodney did. Hitting these free throws, handling the ball.
That was change right there, Alex.
That was change, yep.
That was the play call on that, Matt. Whenever it went to the free throw line guy, there would be an interchange, the guards for the lower guys. Change.
There, you finally got that call, Doug.
Hey, I was 210 pounds. I had to settle some of that stuff. If I felt a little forearm on me, I was going to throw these long arms out. There you go. Oh.
It did that a few times to you.
Got rewarded with less than a minute left.
Mm-hmm. Your shoes are like size 25 or something. Those things are huge.
Only fit. My shoes are only size 15.
15.
Back then, anything over size 15, when it got up into 16, 17, you didn't get the cool shoes. Like Al wore size 16, so we missed out on some of the cool shoes that we got.
Oh, really?
The Supreme Controls. Doug was nice enough to bring me a pair back here. About 2 years ago, you brought those back to me, Doug?
Yep. The running shoes we got in the fall, especially. If it got the size 16, those shoes were ugly. 15.
I loved them so much, Matt. I left them at Doug's house in North Dakota about 20 years ago, and he was nice enough to bring them back to me about 2 years ago.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
Supreme Control box. Oh. There's the Bulldog again.
Easy call.
And that's the type of plays he makes that win games.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good by Rod to stay on that back hip and keep coming downhill, too. There, you got a pretty good shot of the basketball getting rubbed off the shorts there, Doug.
Yeah. I'm telling you, we got mileage out of those jerseys. 2 years, 2 seasons at least. It was 2 seasons. You guys were Nike the next year.
No, we were big time the next year.
Big time uniforms, Nike shoes.
And we had they gave us one pair of shoes that they broke. We glue them back together. Nike gave us that year. It was really nice.
Sears looks like he gave himself that haircut there.
Justin Haynes is our team barber.
Oh, my goodness. That is horrendous.
Haynes definitely gave the haircut I had on this one.
Really?
Mine too. I know it was a Justin Haynes special.
Doug, you were probably just like, take it all down to the lowest level.
Now that there.
Oh!
Ben Walker gave me so much crap about that I was going to be on one shot at the end of the tournament. I remember we watched the championship game in Al and Ben's room, and I was like, oh, man, there's no way it was that bad. That wasn't bad. I was in the area, and I didn't foul him. I was so worried. I was like, oh, man, I'm going to be on one shot at home and getting dunked on.
You went up with two hands, too, and he still got it.
Just like they're taught to nowadays.
That's messed up.
Okay. That is a Hayden's definitely put the bowl on Sears' haircut for that.
Seriously, look at that. What is that?
Come on, it was the 90s, guys.
That better have been free, I'll tell you that much.
They were free. Hey, they were.
Well, then you get what you pay for in that regard, then. Ooh.
Yeah, still game. We did finally start going to Stan up at his barbershop by the Blue Jay there, the bar.
Did you go to Stan? I never went to Stan for a haircut.
I finally started paying for haircuts after the season.
There was no cost of attendance back in those days. It was just straight. It was just straight. You know, you had to spend your own money.
Yeah, you guys just missed that, huh? Ed O'Bannon was, what, right after you guys?
No, Eddie was before us.
Oh, was he?
Ed, let's see, they won the championship in
95, right?
95, he finished at UCLA.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. There's like no time left, and they make him.
We got Dr. Calder holding everybody back there
Don't
for us.
rush the court, no technicals.
Unlike Chicago,
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah. And there we go.
Nice. That was a hard-fought game.
It was.
That didn't do anything for the offensive scheme of basketball. That thing is that was an ugly basketball game offensively.
Honestly, it might have been the reason that the game went to more ball screens. I'll tell you that. just to get somebody freed up.
We got a cameo from Father Hart there again. I think I saw Jason Nareda in there too.
You saw Butch though, right?
What's that?
Mark Burgers.
Was he in there?
He was taking Coach Altman to, I suppose, one of the TV cameras.
Oh, really? I didn't see him in there.
No, that's so I know it's only one game in March. It got us to the round of 32, but there's a lot of guys that played this game and did not get to another round of this thing or to the tournament. So it makes for March. Man, it makes for a special time for me, these memories.
Mm-hmm.
This team really could have, too. I mean, I hate to say it, blame it on a draw, but we probably played the most talented team in the country the next game.
Yeah.
Had we played just a regular team, you know, just in probably any of the other 2 seeds even, we probably have a pretty good shot of knocking them off. That team was really, golly, they were so talented.
Steve Francis, Laron Prophet,
Mm-hmm.
Terrence Morris, Lonnie Baxter.
I mean, and then keep in mind that the point guard Stokes, I think, was the ACC career leader in assists. He was like the only one that didn't play. Danny Miller was on that team.
Danny Miller, who ended up at Notre Dame a couple years later.
Yep.
Obina Kesey sitting on the sidelines with a boot.
Yeah, he was.
A big guy. I mean, he was the biggest guy on the team. I was so thankful he was not playing at least. They were. That was a buzzsaw that next game.
They were really, really good. I think they played who? St. John's the game before? No, St. John's was they played.
They lost.
St. John's was down there with us too. St. John's beat somebody else but they were in the same regional as us, right?
Maryland lost to St. John's in the Sweet 16 game.
That's what it was. There you go.
St. John's played George Washington. They were in Orlando with us.
That's right.
What was Dana like in the post game? Did he let his guard down at all and get well? Did he prop you guys up at all, or was it kind of moving on to the next one?
I think he
probably they smashed Valpo. It looks like.
No, there you go.
I don't know. This was early in the day, so I don't know, Al. Do you remember? I'm sure he was probably. I remember
him saying something about, you know, I think we were pretty excited, but I think he also said, let's go ahead and, you know, get our mind focused back on ball, because something about a 4-team tournament. What did he talk about? 4-team tournaments?
There you go. Yes. Yep, you're right. 14 tournaments.
You know, we can. You know, now you got to win one, and then you got a chance to win the 4-team tournament, and we'll go back to Omaha and figure out the next 4-team tournament.
I mean, Doug said this is one of his memories that he goes back to top of mind. Where does it rank for you, Al, when you think back about
Yeah, I mean,
Not only your
it was
career as a
different.
player, but as a coach too.
It was interesting because I don't think any of us, like, that was always in the back of your mind at that point, but that made it all real. And I can say for me, I went through a tough year physically that year. I think I was in a cast, remember, early in the year with my wrist, and then I got out of it, played about half a dozen games, and played some pretty good ball, and then got really sick. I mean, I was in the hospital for almost a week. And I can tell you, though, like, coming back and trying to get back healthy, this made it real. And when it turned it from something that was a possibility if you had an exceptional season to the expectation to me. And going into those next 2 years, then the expectation was for us to compete for the league, win the league, and play in the NCAA tournament. And I think this is the most talented team I played on. But I think Doug said it earlier, we had some ups and downs on this team, and it wasn't until really late in the season that we came together. And I think that's what the next couple of teams figured out. The team the next year probably wasn't as talented, but we were very together. And I think it's a credit to this team and kind of the battles we went through and the guys who are a part of that figured out it was going to take that level of togetherness to win the following year without Doug and Rodney and Corey and the really talented players we lost.
Well, this was a lot of fun, guys. I really appreciate you guys taking time out to sit down and recollect this thing. It's pretty cool that you guys still get along and everything, I think, after all these years. But this was a fun look back, even after 20-some years later, as much as you guys still have this. It's funny what you're able to remember still, so I appreciate you guys taking time out to kind of just, let it all out.
Not a problem, Matt. It sure has been fun.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys. Well, take care, be safe, and we'll be in touch for sure.
Enjoy quarantine.